And we're back. And what we're going to talk about today is our eyedropper tool. Now, in order to use the eyedropper tool, uh, all you have to do is select the icon in your tools panel. It's really, really easy. It is the 21st icon if you're looking in your single column tool layout of your tools panel, or you can just, go all the way down to the eyedropper icon. It's in the 11th row, first column, if it's in a two column layout. And then you click it, or you hit the letter I on your keyboard. And this little tool is amazing for copying attributes of your objects. And it works for type and it works for paragraphs as well. So I'm going to show you, let's say, let's create two artboards in addition to the ones we already have. And I'm going to create, this is a line of text. And then let's say, I'm going to increase that size, and I'm going to make another one that says another set of text for us. And again, increase that. Actually, let's make sure this one is just a little bit smaller. And we're going to change that to, let's say, Rockwell. And let's change it to bold. There we go. And actually, let's go a little bit further. Let's change it to all caps. And then on this, we're going to create lines of text. We're going to use Lipsum to create these lines. And let's look at our paragraph options. We're going to leave those there. And shift this one up. And we're going to shift this one down. We're going to change this so that our font size is smaller, and let's change it to I guess we can change it to Rockwell as well. Sorry, I kind of froze up there. I was just trying to think of something that we could change it to that would look kind of different. So, all right. And let's remove some of these options that we had in our paragraph from before. So we're going to change this to 0, 0, and let's just give it an indent altogether. And a right indent. Let's see. There we go. And let's change our size down a little bit. Boom. There we go. Okay. So I know you're wondering like why I just did all of that, but it's to give us some options to look at and how the eyedropper tool works. So we select our eyedropper tool, letter I on the keyboard, or select it from your tools panel. You can select your object on the board, and you have two options. And you can either select the object and take attributes from another object, or you can select your object and give attributes to another object. So in order to take attributes from another object, we select our object that we want to have the attributes, get our eyedropper tool, and just click the object we want it from. Now you'll see the cyan with black stroke circle that we had now has a gray stroke circle with a magenta fill. So we're going to do the same thing for this circle or this oval, this ellipse, and we're going to select it with our selection tool. We're going to select the eyedropper tool, which is the letter I on your keyboard. And we're going to hold down the Alt or Option key on your keyboard, and you'll notice that the eyedropper changes. It's similar to how when you click when selecting an object to take the properties from, it does the same thing. So when you hold down the Alt key, you'll notice that it switches direction though. And when it switches direction, it just means that it's giving the properties of the selected object to the other object. So if you hold down the Alt or Option key and you click, it will give those objects the property of the selected object. If you just want to take it, you can do that. and I'll show you how that works. I'll change a couple of these colors. Let's give this a lighter color with, let's say, cyan stroke, and then we'll give this one, let's say, a red fill, or a red stroke, and then we'll give it a yellow fill, right? I think yellow works. Okay. And then we'll use this and we'll change our property of this with respect to all of these by selecting the eyedropper and just clicking on each one, and you'll notice that it changes depending upon which one we are clicking. It changes and takes on the stroke and fill properties. Or if we wanted to give these attributes, we just hold down the Alt or Option key and we click the objects we want to have those properties. Okay? Very simple. Next, we'll move to our text options. Same thing. We click a line of text, and if we were to select our eyedropper tool, we can then take the attributes from a previous line of text. This is now all, and let's show you what it looks like. It went from Courier Regular with these options to Rockwell Bold with these options and an all caps selection. And you can do the same thing for the other. Select that object, select that text, and it now changes it for you. So very simple. You'll notice that all the options change accordingly, and the eyedropper tool actually it makes sure that you're taking all of the attributes that you want and it's shifting it for the objects that you're selecting. It's really, really good. And then our last thing to look at before we get into eyedropper options is how we can change paragraph type accordingly. So let's select a paragraph and then let's sample it from another. And you'll notice how it changes. It has the indents that we selected, and let's bring that option open. You'll notice that all of these options in our paragraph window, which you can get from Window, Type, and Paragraph, or Character for our last example, and you'll notice that each of these options changes because I've selected the attributes from the lower paragraph. And if I wanted to select it from the upper paragraph, I select the lower one, select the upper one, and now you'll notice they change again, but now it's identical to the paragraph up top in terms of form and function. So it really works well on carrying over attributes from various types of objects, whether they're text or paragraph or a general object in itself. It can work on transparency, blending modes, you name it, it can do it. And you just want to make sure that you're utilizing this because it can be a time saver when utilizing this tool. All right. The next option is to double click on your eyedropper tool. And when you do that, you'll notice that you have the option to change your sample size. You also have the option to change what it picks up and what it applies once it's picked up. Okay, so you can change these, you can shift these. You have transparency, focal fill, which covers the color, transparency, and the overprint. The focal stroke, which covers the color, transparency, overprint, weight, cap, join, miter limit, dash pattern. All of these things. It's just a lot of options, and you can choose from them. And you can deselect or select more, whatever you want. Just depends on how identical you want the object you're selecting to be to the object that is being sampled from. Okay, so that's how you use the eyedropper tool. Simple, straight to the point. Whenever you get a second, go back over this. Make sure you're used to how this thing works. Even though it's not difficult, you want to make sure that it's ingrained in your head, so that way it just comes naturally while you're using everything. Okay, so stay tuned. The next thing I'm going to cover in our next set of lessons are going to be the symbol sprayer tool. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys there.